Well, hello and welcome, wondrous unlimited beings. Simon here from Balance Equation with another little stanza on a topic which is identity. Identity. How do you identify yourself? Who do you think you are? It's a pretty big question, isn't it? Because most of us in the Western world tend to identify ourselves with what we do for a living, don't we? You know, it might be, I'm an accountant, I'm very good with numbers, that's what I do, I excel at this, and that's what I am, that's who I am. I'm happy with that. Or it might be a doctor. You know, I'm a doctor, I save lives, I prescribe lots of medicine every day. Well, look, might be an honourable notion, but you are not a doctor, you are not an accountant, these are roles you play. And it's a real crutch in the Western world, at least, that we take on these identities which usually turn out to be enormous limiting factors of otherwise what life could be. You shouldn't be confined to that small little nano identity of that which you do to earn a living. Or it might be, a lot of people identify as parents, and that's fine, that's an important role, but what about when the child leaves the nest and becomes an adult? There's a lot of empty nest angst for a lot of parents out there when the young one leaves, and what do I do now? That's maybe an indicator in that your energies were not adequately distributed across life's opportunities when that young one was being brought up. Anyway, identity is such a key concept because who you think you are is either who you are in your own eyes or who you're going to become. And it dictates a lot of your behaviour, a lot of your possibilities, and a lot of your eventualities. There was a great book written in the 70s, I think, by a chap called Maxwell Maltz. It was called Psycho-Cybernetics. Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and he discovered when he'd change someone's appearance, their face, their actual identity would change. It was very interesting. For example, there was a young boy, a teenager. He had a big nose. Because he had a big nose, he thought he was ugly. Because he thought he was ugly, he thought he was dumb. Because of that, couldn't do maths because his mind just couldn't give itself over to the problem. Just assumed that he couldn't do it. He had a rhinoplasty executed on his face, nose reduction. Thought he wasn't ugly anymore, thought he wasn't stupid anymore. Turns out this kid was a mathematics genius. It was always within him, but he had this limiting perspective which was his very identity. Now I think we all suffer a little bit of this to whatever extent in whatever area of our life, but it's something that can be gotten over by challenging it. By challenging this assumed identity that you've taken on. I used to struggle a lot because I played professional cricket when I was young. I played for Western Australia and played in England, but that's what I saw myself as. I, was this professional sportsman person, which has got a lot of ego wrapped up in it and whatnot, and it's a temporary thing, very temporary thing, playing sport. And if you invest your actual identity in that, it's a little bit of a no-win situation. Where do you go from there? And similarly, I became a published author 5 years ago, and that was a nice little ego rush, etc. But that's not what I am. It's just another thing that I did. I don't necessarily identify with that, and it's just another part of life. So I think the more fluid we can be with our identity, the more graceful we can uptake potential opportunities and forge our own possibilities in life. I think, the less we can identify with how things are and what we think we are and what we think our possibilities, our potential is, the more we can uptake that which we are attracted to, if that makes sense. So, I ask people, sometimes I'll ask people in crowd, what are you? What are you? And men particularly will always respond in physical, material terms. Pushed beyond the identity of their job, it'll usually get down to the body. I'll say, well, are you your body? The reality is, this arm, these cells regenerate every 18 months. So, mate, you're not your body. Best case scenario, I'm some sort of blueprint for this arm. So you're not your body. Are you your thoughts? Mate, you're not your thoughts, because most of our thoughts actually we get from somewhere else, don't we? There's someone else's thoughts. Are we our feelings? Oh, mate, you're definitely not those. They're so whimsical and ephemeral and temporary and fleeting. You're not those. Or what's left? You are energy. We are electromagnetic energy that is driving this flesh and blood bag along the highway of this majestic material life that we live in. But it's the identity that keeps us trapped in the way we are. So I encourage you to look upon yourself as a mortal spirit. Of course, people will say, oh, this is woo-hoo rubbish. Mate, it's science. Quantum physics and spirituality are going like this. And there's almost a ubiquitously recognised reality that we are life force. In India they'll call it prana. In China they'll call it chi. Whatever you want to call it, we are something that's underneath, that avails us unlimited possibilities in our life if we can just get over the identity that we're bogged in. So that's it for today. I'll challenge you to think about how you identify. How do you identify yourself? And how is that limiting you? You are unlimited possibility. And you can do anything you want. You can be anything you want. You can have anything you want. Believe it. It's yours. Go on. Have a superb day. Keep on punching. I'll see you soon.